Hey guys, it's been a while, and I honestly promised myself that I would make this video later. Like, I had a specific goalpost that I wanted to reach first before I made this video. But one thing that I've learned is that you're never going to be ready, and you should just do things even when you don't feel ready. So I figured I would just make this video, kind of give you guys an update on me. And I had a few things that I wrote down that I wanted to share with you that I've kind of learned throughout this past year or so. I think the last time I posted, was it like October? I'll have to check. But as of today, it's August 23rd, I believe. And so we're coming at just under a year. So I have a few things that I wrote down that I wanted to share with you. And the reason that I have things to share with you is because this time that I've been taking a break from YouTube, I've started a business, and it's been kind of a long 8 or 9 months, or however it's been since I made a video. And I felt like I have some things that I would like to share with you that I've learned that might help you in your life, no matter what it is that you're doing, because this is not anything about business and everything about your own mindset and your life and how you treat yourself and what you do day to day. So to kind of catch you up, I am back in the States. I was in Asia for almost a year, and in May I came back. And while I was in Asia, I was trying to figure out what to do, right? I think the last video I made, I was talking about how I came across this, this new path that I was looking into with business, and I didn't really know what I was doing, but, I felt like this was kind of the path for me. Well, it ended up being the path for me. And like I said at the beginning of this video, I don't feel ready to make this video yet because I'm not where I want to be, where I feel completely 100% in authority to give advice, because I'm not where I want to be, but I am at a place where, I'm making an amount of money that I never really thought that I would. And it's kind of surreal to look back at myself, when I was in Asia making that video back in October, and just I was full of fear and I had no idea what I was doing. And I'm still afraid, and I'm still not, I'm still in survival mode because I haven't reached a place of stability. It's still the very beginning of this journey. But regardless, I am in a position that I never would have imagined when I was making those videos. Remember when I was in Japan and I was making those videos about my day and all that stuff? I had no idea that I would be in the position that I am right now, where I have multiple clients that I'm doing work for, getting paid in full, getting paid an amount that I never thought was possible. And again, this is not a video about business, but I just wanted to tell you where I am so that you can kind of understand why I'm making this video, and kind of why I'm telling you these things and why you should even listen to me, right? So the first thing that I learned on this journey is to have a goal. And yeah, that's like a very basic advice, but that's kind of like where you need to start. So if you're currently in your life kind of like wondering what to do, what you should do, you feel like there's not really much meaning in your life, you're like afraid about how your life is going to be, or like what's going to happen, or oh, what do I do? How do I get out of this situation that I'm in? The first thing is to have like a clear vision of what it is that you actually want, because a lot of people, I think, they don't ever really they don't allow themselves to create a vision of what they actually want, and instead they just kind of like settle for whatever people around them are doing, or what they think is like a safe choice. You should first figure out what you actually want. And it doesn't have to be anything like very specific. Like one thing that I struggled with is the idea that like, oh, you have to have like a very, very clear goal. Like know exactly what you want to do, and oh, this is my purpose, and I know exactly like how I want to live the rest of my life. I have no idea. I have a better idea now, but that's taken almost a year of daily thinking and like experiencing things. And again, like emphasis on experience, because you don't actually like figure out what you want to do until you've had more life experience, and you have more experiences that are different than what you've had before. So in other words, you have to experience things first in order to figure out what it is that you want to do. So you don't need to know exactly what you want to do, but you need to have a sort of North Star of like where you want to be. Like, do you want to be, like, what kind of situation do you want to be in? The more detail, the better. But again, if you don't have a lot of detail, that will come as you go. And the reason that this is the first piece of advice I have is just because if you don't have a goal that is actually aligned with what you want and not what you think will happen, you're just going to do what you think is possible. And therefore, you're not going to ever change your situation or your potential. Like, you're not going to reach your potential if you don't think big, right? Think about like what it is that you actually want. Like, if anything were possible, what is it that you actually would want to do or strive for? Because the other thing is, you're not going to be able to work hard or do things that are scary or feel like uncertain. Like, you're not going to be able to handle uncertainty until you have something that, to you personally, not anyone else but you, is actually worth enduring that pain for. So when I say goal, think of it as like a vision. Like, what is the vision of your future? Like, where do you want to be in the next 5 years? What do you want to be in the next year, right? What is it like? And you can start with what you don't like about your current situation. Like, look around you and look at your life, look at yourself. Like, it could just be self-improvement type stuff where it's like, okay, well, the job that I'm doing or the situation I'm in, like, oh, maybe I'm in school or something. It's like, I'm not really thinking about exactly what kind of career I want to do, but there's things about me that I want to change that will require a lot of action that is outside of my comfort zone. Create a clear vision as much as you can about what kind of person that you want to be, where on the other side, you'll know exactly when you've reached that because you have a clear vision of what that is. So the next piece of advice I have is to plan your day. And again, this is another basic thing, but everything I tell you is like, I thought about what actually helped me, and this is what helped me. Like, these very basic things, you will find once you start working towards something that the basic things are the things that you neglect the most. And that is what I have experienced myself. because you just don't take it seriously, and you think that like, you basically like fall back into the path of least resistance, where it's like, oh, well, that's not really that important. Like when you don't put importance to something because it seems simple, that's where you mess up, because that's when you stop doing it. That's when your mind gives an excuse for you to not do it. Ironically, it's kind of funny how this works, but the simpler something is, the easier it is for you to not do it, or to convince yourself that you don't have to do it because it's so simple, or because you've heard everyone talk about it and it's like, oh, well, I heard this advice before and my life didn't change. But it's kind of funny how the mind works, because I'm talking from experience here, where it's like, oh, I hear people all the time talk about the same stuff, and it's like, oh, but I heard that and then my life didn't change. But the reality is, like, you need to look at yourself and look at your situation and look at your actions and be like, did I actually do that? Did I actually change my actions? And did I actually like do that for a year, like every single day? Did I do that simple thing every day? Probably not, right? So the second piece of advice I have is to plan your day, because if you don't plan out your day, you're not going to do what needs to be done. There's this funny thing with the mind where if you don't give yourself structure, the mind will fill that void. And basically it will take you as much time as you allow yourself to get something done. So in order, like for me to put that more simply, let's say you have something that you want to get done in the day and you don't put a time to it and you don't put an amount of time to get it done, like you don't structure it, it will take you all day to do it. Or let's say it's like a task that physically will take 1 hour, but you give yourself 2 hours to do it. It'll take you 2 hours to do it. Do you see where I'm going with this? There's like this, you can look it up and I forgot what it's called, but there's this is actually proven by science, that the mind will fill space. It will fill space with the amount of time that you give it. So what you need to do if you want to get anything done, and this is not just about business, this is about anything. Like if you want to clean your room, for example, or you want to do your homework or whatever, it's like, firstly, the mind hates uncertainty. So if you wake up and you have something that you vaguely know that you want to do, that's vague, right? So it's uncertain. So the mind's going to put it off. And then you find yourself not doing that thing, even if it's pretty much simple or basic, and it just requires a little bit of effort, but you know that if you did that thing, you would feel much better about it. One of the main reasons why you don't do that is because you don't actually structure your day. Like you don't structure your time where it's like, okay, at this time I'm going to do this, then I'm going to take a break, and then I'm going to do this, right? And I'm going to spend 1 hour on this task, take a break, spend another hour on this task or whatever, right? And when you do that, you give your mind certainty about your intention of like when you're actually doing an action. And what that does is it allows your mind to work more efficiently. If you give yourself an hour to do something, your mind is going to figure out how to do it within an hour. That's just how the mind works. The mind just works on solving puzzles and problems and stuff. So basically you're giving your mind like a mission to do something, and you're giving it certainty, so it's going to do it. So in other words, if you structure your day, if you plan your day the night before, for example, that's what I do. Basically what I do is this is going off a little bit, but I always do a day review at the end of the day, where I review my day and I talk about the thing, and I write down the things that I did right, and I write down the things that I didn't do right. And what that does is it gives me feedback for the next day, so that I know exactly what I want to work on the next day, right? Because the thing is with the mind, I talk about uncertainty. The other thing about the mind is if you don't give yourself feedback, you're just going to forget it. And that's how you end up doing the same thing every single day or every single week or every single month. You keep doing the same thing that you don't want to do. You have that habit. It's because you're not giving yourself feedback on like how you did at the end of the day. So I do that, and I also planned the next day. I spend like 10 minutes max just writing down what I want to do for the next day, and I block that out. And what that does is it just removes the uncertainty, and it gives my mind something to be certain about what we're going to be doing, and it allows my mind to get tasks done way more efficiently. I promise you, if you try this, you're not going to be able to go back, because you'll see how inefficient your mind is when you don't give it structure. Okay, the third thing that I have to give as advice is to find a mentor. If there's something that you want to achieve and someone else has done it, the number one thing that helped me is to find a person who did exactly what I wanted to achieve and then pay them money to teach me. Now, again, this isn't just about business, because, that's what I did, but I'm talking about just finding someone who did that exact same thing that you want to do. Like, maybe there's someone who was able to change their behavior. Like, let's say that you have a habit that you want to break, and you know someone, and you find someone that had that same situation, that same habit that you wanted to break, and they broke it and they were able to overcome it. Become like a moth to a flame for that person and have them be your mentor, and just either pay them or whatever, if it's a friend or whatever the situation is, just figure out how to have that person teach you how they achieve that thing that you want to achieve. Because the thing that I learned is that you cannot do things on your own. Like, we have this idea that, like, this is just me, but it's like I had this fantasy of like figuring everything out myself. That does not exist. If you actually want to achieve something, especially if it's something that you don't really like, it's outside of your comfort zone, and you're like, oh, the people around me have not achieved this, but I want to achieve it, you have to find someone who has already achieved it, and you have to have them teach you everything that they know. So for me, obviously that was paying someone. It was paying a lot of people, actually, like, because the first thing that I did is, when I was in Asia, like, I didn't know what I was gonna do, and I just had no idea. I just knew that I needed to do something different, because I was trying like a bunch of things. Like, I was trying to get like music connections. I was trying to do modeling. I was trying to do like a bunch of different things, and it wasn't really working. And I just kind of realized that I have to do something different, because I've been doing stuff like this my whole life, and I just felt myself that like doing something completely different, like going into business, which I have no experience in, I just felt like that was right for me, where it's like completely different and no history whatsoever. And it ended up being correct, where I was a complete blank slate, and that allowed me to kind of adopt a different identity, if that makes sense, because I had absolutely no history in that field. So what was I saying? Basically about finding a mentor. The first money that I spent was paying someone $300 to have a 1-hour call. So I reached out to someone who I knew was already successful in what I was trying to get into, or at least what I thought at the time to get into. And I paid them money to hop on a call and literally just ask them questions. And that call is what led me to the next person, who led me to the mentors that I'm still using today. So those people who ended up teaching me everything that I know now, and who are mentoring me and have caused me to be able to build this business that I'm building, I had no idea who these people were. So I had to kind of use the money that I had to kind of find these people by paying this person and then paying that person and having a conversation with this person and back and forth until I find the people that actually end up being the people that teach me everything that I need to know in order to get to achieve what I was trying to achieve. And I tried other things that, the other kind of micro lesson within this is that you're not going to find the right person immediately, and you're not going to immediately win. Like, I spent time doing a lot of things that like ended up being nothing, but when I look back at it, it's literally what caused me to find the right thing. So for example, in this business thing, like, I spent a month or so trying to get like certifications and stuff through this like online course, and it ended up being absolutely like completely worthless and useless, and none of what I learned has anything to do with what I do now. But it started me on that journey, and ironically, it turning out not being what I thought it was what allowed me to find that next thing, or find that next person that did put me on the path to where I am now. So hopefully that makes sense. So ultimately, the lesson in finding a mentor is that you can't do anything on your own. And the only way that you're going to achieve something that is outside of yourself and who you are currently, and to become someone who you aren't, is to find someone or something that is outside of yourself that gives you knowledge and understanding and experience. Because the thing about a mentor is they're giving you their experience that they've had. So they're basically passing on their experience to you, so you don't have to experience it. Otherwise, you're going to spend your entire life trying to do something, whereas you could have just had someone tell you all the lessons that they learned, and then you could have saved like a few years of you just like messing around and not knowing what you're doing. So the fourth piece of advice that I have is to have faith. And what I mean by having faith is to develop a awareness of a force that is greater than you. So for me, that's God. For you, that could be, God, that could be creator of the universe, like whatever it is. It has to be something that created you that is greater than you. Because developing faith is extremely important for the times of uncertainty, which, if you're on a path to achieving anything of any importance to you, it's always going to be something that requires uncertainty and requires faith. So in order to have faith in the thing that you're doing and trying to achieve, you have to have faith in life itself. You have to have faith in existence itself. And in order to have faith in basically reality, you have to develop an understanding and awareness of something greater than you that created you and created everything, right? You can't act from this mentality of like pure intelligence and logic. You have to have a part of you that is more, that has transcended logic, in the sense that you can't kind of like have this mentality of like, oh, there's no meaning to life, there's no like, everyone is just like a clump of cells, and everything is just like a bunch of molecules and stuff. Like, that is true, but at the same time, you have to have some sort of faith in yourself and where you're going. And the faith has to be something that is greater than you, because you are going to fail a lot of times. And the only way that you're going to be able to get up every time that you fail and keep moving is that you don't worship yourself, and that you instead worship something greater than you. I hope that makes sense. But basically, what I've learned is, if you don't have some sort of faith that is in a greater power, greater than you, you get caught up in yourself, and you're going to let yourself down, because you are not perfect, and you are not smart, and you are not all-knowing, right? And if you worship yourself, in the Bible, for example, it talks about idols, having an idol. And I'll use that as an example of like what I'm trying to explain. If you don't worship God, for example, something higher than you, something perfect, you're going to end up worshiping people and yourself. And that is what causes you to have so much anxiety in what other people think and in your own performance. Like, for example, me making this video, like it's not like a perfect video. I'm just kind of rambling a little bit. And if I was only obsessed with myself and like how I am and kind of put all my faith in myself, I'm going to let myself down because I'm not going to end up performing in the way that I would want to perform because I'm not perfect, right? So do you understand what I'm trying to say here? Like, you cannot be obsessed with yourself. And the way that you become obsessed with yourself is if you don't have a higher faith. Because where is that going to go? It's going to go in yourself, or it's going to go in other people, and you're going to end up people pleasing, or it's going to end up in the situations, like being obsessed with the outcomes. If you don't have a faith in something greater than you, in the universe, in God, you're going to end up being caught up in the world, and everything is going to be so important to you because that's all there is to your perception and your perspective. You need to step back and see everything in a bigger picture, and that's what having faith does. So that means if something doesn't go your way, it doesn't really matter that much. And not to say that life doesn't have meaning. It's because there's something greater than you that this little thing, your life, it doesn't matter as much, right? Hopefully that makes sense. Obviously, I don't have like the perfect explanation for it, but I just know that in my experience, developing some sort of faith has kept me on my path. Okay, so the fifth piece of advice that I have is to surround yourself with winners. And then what I say about this, I've said this in videos before, the people that you are around and surround yourself and the content that you consume, everything, absolutely everything. It's the TV shows that you watch, it's the social media that you scroll, it's the people you hang out with, it's the people that are in your life. They determine what you believe and what you end up becoming. So, you know that saying where it's like, you become the whatever of the people that you're surrounded by, like you become the average of who you spend time with, something like that. That's exactly correct. And in my experience, the number one thing that is so important about this, that has changed my life, is the aspect of what you believe is true, right? Like, in order for me to get to the point that I am right now, in the situation that I'm in financially, as well as just like what I'm able to do, it's not even really about money. It's more so about like being able to, like, I'll give you a little bit more context, like being able to talk to people who run multi-million-dollar companies. Just me, like having a call with them, getting them to get on a call with me, like a sales call, right? And mind you, like I have my history, like of myself, is I have extreme social anxiety. And so this whole path of like taking this like business route of having to like get on a call with someone, and do you know how anxiety inducing that idea is of like getting on a call with like a CEO of a company, and the whole reason of the call is to like sell them something? That was unheard of for me. And yet I was able to alter my identity and develop skills, and it's not even really about skills, it's mostly just belief. So what helped me be able to do those things is find people. Again, this kind of goes back to the whole mentor thing. You have to find people who have that as their reality, where they succeeded in that thing that you're trying to do, and befriend them, and only make those types of people your friends. So the only people that you talk to, the only people that you hang out with, are people who have already achieved or are achieving the things that you are trying to do, because it changes your perception of reality like that. Like, the only way that I was able to believe in the things that I was trying to do and then achieve them is because I was exposed to people who have already done it. Like, for example, let me give you an example of, like, back in 2024, I got into crypto trading, and I was able to be successful with that only because I found people who were already successful with it. And they were like my age, they were even younger than me. And the same thing in the business. It's like, you have no idea what's possible until you meet people who have already done it. If I hadn't met those people, like when I was doing crypto and getting into it, I would have literally thought it was just a scam, and then I wouldn't have done it. And that's the thing with a lot of things that, like, this is kind of like a side note. Anything that has to do with money, there's like this unfortunate reality where most people, the things that make you money, especially things that you can do on your own, everyone thinks they're scams. And the reason they think it's a scam is because we're only exposed to these scammers, right? The people who are popular on social media, who like are just trying to sell you a course, or they're just trying to like get your money. That is what our perception of anything that would allow you to have financial freedom or like independence. Most normal people think all of those things are scams. And I don't blame them, because they're only exposed to the scam part of that, the scam realm. But if you actually personally knew people who actually achieved those things, you would be able to change your perception of what's possible. And that is like honestly one of the biggest things that helped my success, is surrounding myself with people who have already achieved it, or who are on that path achieving it alongside me. And my final piece of advice is to meditate. Meditation, specifically the type of meditation that I do, which is sitting in silence and watching your thoughts. So I do this for 22 minutes every day. Sometimes I always do it in the morning, like after I work out and take a shower, and then I sit down and I set a timer for 22 minutes, and I literally just sit there with my hands, my palms up, like on my, just sitting there like with my hands on my legs, just like palms up, and I'm just kind of like, I let every single muscle of my body relax, close my eyes, and I just try to pay attention to all the thoughts, all the perceptions, all the things in my mind, whether that's like something like a thought itself, or an abstraction, like a idea of something, whether it's like me thinking about like my room, like the vision of my room, or worrying about something in the past. Everything, every single thing, every thought, every emotion, every abstraction, every like idea in your head, just pay attention to it and try to become aware of it, because that is what runs your life, literally. Like, we think that we have free will, but we actually don't, until we're able to control and have a clear mind, right? First you have to have a clear mind, and then you can actually start influencing what you think about. But until then, you're literally just running on autopilot. And once you start meditating, you'll start to see how much you run on autopilot. Like, you actually don't have any free will, because all the things that you think are just being bombarded to you. Like, that's one of the things that when I started meditation, I was very frustrated, and you'll probably feel this too, which is good and normal. Like, don't stop just because you get frustrated. The reason you're frustrated is because you're starting to become aware, right? The first level of awareness is frustration, because you're like you actually start noticing how many thoughts you have and how many of them are negative, right? And the key to meditation is to not try to change them. It's literally just to watch and to kind of sit in like that discomfort. Like, if you're having a bad thought, or you're like, for me, the main thing is like becoming frustrated that I'm having these thoughts of negativity. That's like it's like a second layer, where it's like I get angry at myself for having those thoughts in the first place. You have to kind of sit in that and then aware of that anger too. So it's like peeling layers of an onion, and that's why you need to do this every single day, every day, at least 10 minutes, right? Start with like 5 minutes, then go to 10 minutes, and your goal should be, I do 22 minutes. I might even go up to like 40 minutes at some point, but I think 20 minutes is pretty good because it allows you to spend enough time each day to really just spend all your focus on what you're thinking, because we don't do that. Every single thing that we do throughout the day is always to distract us from what we're thinking, because it's uncomfortable, right? So we're either scrolling or we're just doing something to like keep us busy. It basically is an escape from our mind, because our mind is what is causing any sort of pain in our life. So yeah, those are the 5 or 6 things that I recommend you trying. And those are the 6 things that have helped me the most with my journey and what I have been able to achieve. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, I apologize for the time in between my last video and this video. And please let me know like what you're dealing with in your life right now. Tell me what you're trying to achieve. Like, what goals do you have? Like, let me know what your situation is in your life and what you're trying to achieve. And it could be something small, it could be something big, it doesn't really matter. Just let me know like what's going on in your life and your desires.